Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Asaph Cafe. I am Asaph Adonai, and I have a guest tonight. Her name is Stacy. She's with First Interstate Bank. Did I say that right? I'm sorry, First Security Bank. Forgive me. Anyway, this is just a show where I just play music for every guest that I invite, and Stacy is my very first guest on this show. And I have a brand new show that's coming out in the future called Music with Asaph, and that's going to be a remake of the Lawrence Welk show, and that'll be shot, the pilot will be shot at the Governor's Ballroom at the Florence Hotel. But for this scene here, it's just piano music, and Stacy, my first guest, we're just going to have fun, and we hope you'll enjoy it. And I will start this off with Burt Bacharach's This Guy's in Love with You. That's always a fun song to play.
Yes, I love that song.
Yeah, it's a shame I didn't write that song.
Definitely.
I think I was just learning how to talk when that song first came out. Actually, there was a famous trumpet player named Herb Alpert. I don't know how many people remember him.
I know.
This is for this younger generation, but he had the look. Well, he still does, I'm sure. And he had his trumpet, and he was singing the lyrics to that song, and he does his little trumpet solo. And I thought that was pretty cool. And everybody's like, ah! When they first showed that, so I guess you could be like the Beatles and play a trumpet if you're a trumpet player.
Right.
But I'm not a trumpet player. I am a piano player.
Player.
And so now let's have fun with Tony Bennett. left my heart in San Francisco. That's always a fun one. Let's see, let's have fun with Hank Williams. My version of Cold, Cold Heart. Actually, Tony Bennett sang that song.
Oh.
Yeah, it's probably, that version that he sang probably wasn't as known as all the other songs like this, Left My Heart in San Francisco, and all the rest of those delightful songs that he did. But let's have fun with that. I know, I'm not a rock and roll singer. I can't scream my way to stardom like Miley Cyrus or somebody. I can't yell my way, and I certainly can't twerk my way. I don't have it anyways. I don't think anybody would want me doing that anyhow, but I'm blessed, to be able to play the piano, or keyboard in this case. So that's good enough. Any particular song you'd like to hear if I know it?
Ooh, how about Amazing Grace?
All right, let's change it. I'll give you my version of Amazing Grace.
Okay.
I have to admit I wouldn't have thought of that one, but that's a good one. I'm here to please.
One of my favorites.
All right, I'll do Amazing Grace for you.
Okay.
All 4 verses. I'm very humbled, yeah. You know, about a week ago I went to this church and they had this concert grand piano there and I got to play that. It wasn't for a service, just to play it, test it and so on. And I just felt like I was in piano heaven.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, well, the keys, they were just
Oh,
totally different than these.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll have me endorsing these little things in commercials. Because it's like
Yeah,
the
it's
notes are
not
not
the
distinctive like I would like it when you're doing all
Yeah.
those tricks.
For sure.
And I was stumbling, but I've been told nobody notices it.
Never.
I notice it.
No. I would never.
So don't, ladies and gentlemen, you go get your kids and keyboards, I would get the letters,
Yeah. That's
Anyway, okay, since I did a hymn, let me do a song that they play at Easter called Hear the Bells. You might recognize it, my version of it anyway. That song, when I was first putting that arrangement together, it was a mistake.
Oh.
And I said, oh, I like that chord. How did I put that? So every time you hear that Jesus is risen, I go right on that chord. That's a perfect ending.
Perfect.
Well, okay. So for our Christian crowd that's watching tonight, you need a pianist for your church, I'm available. Or weddings or parties or functions. I play everything from Beethoven to Chopin to popular music. And of course, one of my teachers taught me how to play popular music in a classical style. That's what you're hearing. So let's have fun with Frankie Valli.
Sounds good.
Yeah. I try to do stuff that people don't hear every day, especially on the piano. So we'll start out with some Frankie Valli here. version of Can't Keep My Eyes Off You, Frankie Valli, Four Seasons. You know, I had to really, really practice when I was putting that one together. But actually, when I was first learning how to do these kind of songs, it took me about a year to develop that style, because normally when you go into a hotel or casino or whatever, you might hear something. I'll do the Girl from Ipanema. They might play something plain like this. You know, just plain. And that's nothing wrong with that. But how about if you do that song and you make it sound classical? Concert style, instead of normally it might sound something like this. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I like throwing those tricks in there.
Definitely.
And you know, it's
flair.
Yeah. Boy, I thank my teacher. By the way, his name was Marshall Coswell. He was the pianist at the Northern Hotel in Billings, played there, and he was also a retired music educator. And I remember when he first invited me, when he was first going to teach me how to do this style, he's like, Asaph, I want you to come to the hotel and start listening to the music and watching, paying attention. I'm like, ugh, I don't want to hear no piano music. And I was still practicing at home, and finally I made the decision to go to the hotel at that time. And they had this beautiful, beautiful piano there. And Marshall was sitting there playing, and I'm like, man, this guy can play. Well, I knew he could play anyway because he had been there for so long. And so I started watching and paying attention to what he was doing and asking questions, and of course, you know, teacher's guides and stuff.
Oh, right.
And a year later, when he finally retired, they hired me right on the spot.
Wow.
That is how I got started playing the piano full time at that time. And
when did you start playing?
oh, I was a child. I started out taking trumpet lessons, actually.
Okay.
And of course, I knew I wasn't going to be no Louis Armstrong. I certainly wasn't going to be no Doc Severinsen or Harry James. I don't think that was the plan for me. I mean, it used to make my lips tickle when I played the trumpet. You just feel that going up your head. It was like there was like little ants crawling inside your mouth or something. And I have some good trumpet memories. At least I got to play for the Salvation Army for 12 years.
Oh.
And I got nominated for the California Jefferson Award for helping people in need at that. This was years and years ago.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
And of course, as I was getting physically older, it was harder for me personally, physically, to play this kind of an instrument. And I knew how to play the piano all along, so I think it was meant for me to do the piano thing. So I guess I haven't played a trumpet.
For sure. I was going to ask if you played, because you probably still can.
No, I haven't played a trumpet in 15 years. Time flies. But I have those memories, and I was playing the piano all along, and I was taking lessons and stuff over the years of piano and stuff. Probably more piano than actually trumpet.
Wow.
But at least I have some trumpet memories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always good to have trumpet memories.
Yeah, at least for me. And it was hard getting work playing the trumpet, too.
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't a big band era anymore, unless you like, went to Marcellus. You working at Lincoln Center, New York, you might belt out some tunes here, but for most people, I don't think that works anymore. But the piano it does, because, at least from my experience, because you can get into more places with the piano than you ever could with a trumpet.
Yeah.
And so, after a year, when I made the decision to finally stop playing the trumpet at that time, a whole year went by before I started playing the piano full time. Then I got involved with Marshall, like I mentioned. year after that, I went on to become a full-time pianist, and I've been at it ever since.
Wow, well, you're amazing.
I'm very humbled, so anyway. Okay, let's see. Oh, we got to get the Stones. In case
Gotta have this done.
in case your hubby sees this in the future. I'm going to give you both my version of Painted Black. I like playing that song. And that's my version of Painted Black. That's not a song you hear on the piano every day.
No, it isn't.
So, you know, I always like to have fun, and like, thanks to Marshall, one of my piano teachers. I had a lot of them in my lifetime, but he's the one that showed me how to take all these popular songs and make them sound classical. And I've been having fun with it ever since.
Oh, yeah.
Well, there was one club owner that turned me down once years ago because, it sounds too classical, we want jazz. I'm like, oh, that's fine. Speaking of jazz, let's have some fun. I'm going to do an old bluesy song called, oh goodness, what is the name of that song? You'll recognize it. I'm brain dead right now.
Do you ever have to use music?
Yeah, there's a lot of ways to play these songs. Like, they have what's called a fake book, which has like 1,000 songs in it. And all it has is just the notes and the lines and spaces and just the chords, and you just study it that way and develop it. That's one way you can do it. You can get a fake book for popular music, fake book for traditional jazz, like the Dizzy Gillespie jazz and so on. Miles Davis, greatest. Or, you know, you can like listen to the radio. And of course, when you do popular music, the laws and the principles are different than when you do traditional classical music. So you have to have a good knowledge of chords, scales, and inversions. That just means switching the order of the chord.
Okay.
That's all. It's just like if you do this chord, it's the same chord, just I'm changing the order.
Right.
And so with popular music, you just learn all that stuff, and that's how you do it. But with classical music, you have to memorize each finger with each note. And I think that's why a lot of people don't like classical music. That's just more difficult.
For sure.
And I always tell, like, if I have students or just people that are learning, break it up. If you're doing a classical piece, whether it's lists or whatever, in sections, very slow. I'll give you an example before I do that blues thing. Suppose I was going to do Chopin's Minute Waltz. If you're going to practice that, you do it slowly. Something like this. See? Very slow. You see how nice that is? See? You do that about 1 trillion times and you'll get used to it. So that's how you do classical music. But that's called, that blues song is St. Louis Blues. St. Louis Blues, I guess they call it. I'm going to give you my concert version of that song. And that has a classical sense or feel to it. And that's pretty good why that club owner turned me down. I don't know.
Yeah.
He didn't criticize the play, he liked the play. He's just like, that's not what I'm looking for.
Just not what he's looking for.
No, and I understood that. You know, that happened to Liberace once too, as a young man. You know, because he was so skilled in his own way of playing popular songs, and he went to this club, and the owner didn't hire him at first, and so Liberace says, well, just come to my show. So the club owner went to the Liberace show. I think this might have been 1952, maybe even before that, and hired him and let him do his classical stuff. So maybe
he never did.
Yeah, so maybe some club owner will let me do my classics there and so on. But I feel very blessed to be able to do this. I enjoy sharing this with people pretty much all of my life. So I'm getting middle-aged, as they call it. But anyway, it's just a lot of fun. Okay, I'm going to do a song called the Snake Song. This is a song, you'll recognize it. It's in those little children's piano books.
Okay.
But I'm going to do a little
Your
version to it, yeah. That's my version. Now in the
So your hands get really tired?
no, the fingers never get tired. You can move your fingers indefinitely. It's not the fingers that get tired, it's the posture on your back. You know, like if you're playing at a hotel, like say the DoubleTree or whatever, or whatever hotels that are out there, and you're sitting up like this for about 6 hours,
Yeah.
you're gonna want to be like Shaquille O'Neal in that commercial and get one of those like pitchman, you know,
Yeah.
spray your back. Actually, I did a concert one night and I did play for 6 hours straight.
Oh my goodness.
Sitting up, and when I got home that night, I had to literally lay on the couch and not move.
Wow.
I was in so much
Yeah, I
pain.
never thought of that.
Yeah, the fingers, yeah, you can do that indefinitely. It's the posture. That's the tough thing. And you know, new crowds come in when you're playing hour after hour, and it's fresh to them, but it's old to you. So you don't want to be slumped over, you know, playing. So you want to sit upright and play. But anyway, getting back to that Snake song, it sounds something like this in the children's book. They just have these two chords with this left hand. See? And I guess if you're like 5 years old, that's fine.
Right.
You get like 5. You add a bunch of notes on it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay,
That was
let's.
great.
Yeah, well, thank you. What's your favorite kind of music?
Oh, wow. I like all kinds of music.
I do too.
I mean, I can't really think of a specific favorite.
Yeah. Another person I want to acknowledge, when I was in my early 20s, I studied with a record producer named Bumps Blackwell. He was Little Richard's manager. And I studied with him for 3 years when I was in my early 20s. And it's in it's in one of those documentaries that the university did on my work, the Silent Trumpet documentary. If people look that up on YouTube. And it talks about my years with Bumps. And he taught me how to do a lot of performing in those early years too. And unfortunately, he passed away before I got the opportunity to sign the artist management contract that he was preparing for me at that time. That would have been cool. But you know, I had studied for so many years that when I finally went to Vegas the first time, I was like 26 and landed that opportunity to play with Pat Gittery and High Rollers at that time at the Marina Hotel.
Wow.
And the rest is history.
Wow.
And
Wow.
Pat is still going strong after all these years. And of course, I want to acknowledge one of my best friends from my past. Her name is Deep Cannon. And she was the one that introduced me to Bumps back when I was at Loyola Marymount University. That's how it started.
Wow.
Yeah, I wasn't a student at Loyola. I did all their music for them at that time. for 5 long months. I did every function at that school, and Deke was a student there, and she contacted Bumps and set up the meeting, and that's how it started. And I studied for 3 years with him and lived with him too.
Oh my goodness, wow.
So, I'd be in a sound sleep in the morning, and I feel this tap on my shoulder. Wake up, ASAP, it's time to study. It's like the birds haven't woke up yet, you want to study, so you get kind of disciplined, you start practicing, you get used to stuff, and so that's my history with Bumps Blackwell.
Wow.
And people can look him up on a computer. I mean, he's got a slew of things he's done throughout his career. I think he's best known for working with Little Richard and Sam Cooke. These are performers, obviously, the younger generation probably won't know, but it's fun. Well, let's do some Karen Carpenter here. I think I'm going to do some, okay. I got to use this chair here. Yeah, I think they did. I think it was called The Carpenters, like in the early 70s, if I remember that correctly.
Right. Well, see? I'm right in there with you.
Yeah, and like I told all of you ladies and gentlemen, Stacy is my very first guest on this show called Asaph Cafe. So I'm very humble. 20 years from now, when I can't play anymore, I don't want to people up. Look back and enjoy this. Yeah, I'll try to. I feel like God has blessed me, so I'm really glad to do this. And I'm really, really humbled that I can share this first taping of Asaph Cafe with you of all people.
I'm very honored.
Yeah.
I love to listen to you play.
Thank you, thank you. So when your family sees this, I hope they'll have just as much fun as I'm having
Oh, I'm sure.
entertaining you there.
They all love your CD.
Oh, that's great. Because it's better when you see it live, though.
Yes.
Well, I hope you'll be able to come to the pilot. I'm looking at the end of September to actually take this pilot, and it'll be shot at that Governor's Ballroom at the Florence Hotel.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And what's cool about this, they have a living room setting. So there's chandeliers on the wall, candles sticking out. I'll put the real candle out on that real piano.
Yay.
And I'll walk down the steps when I start. Kind of like Dean Martin, we used to slide down that pole at the beginning of the show. I get to walk down steps. So,
Oh, that'll be fun.
yeah, that'll be really, really, really fun. I think so. Anyway, any other song you'd like to hear?
Ooh.
We're just coming along with this taping here.
Yeah.
I don't know how much time you have, but I'm watching the clock there too. So.
Yeah. Boy, Asaph, anything you play, I love.
All right. Well, let's have some Spanish fun here. I'm going to do the tango first.
Well, that sounds good.
Thank
Actually, I saw an Asian woman singing this song when I was really, really young. I don't know if it was a TV show or whatever it was at the time, and she actually did that. Well, they had the Chinese flavored sound in the background, and she was singing in Chinese too, but she was doing that melody, and I thought that is way cool.
Yeah, that is.
So I kind of picked up on that, you might say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just thought, like, of maybe something Elton John.
Oh yeah, good idea. I wouldn't even thought of that.
Yeah.
How about your song? How about you do my version of Elton John's Your Song?
Sounds good.
Yeah, or try to anyway. John's Your Song. Well, we got about 15 minutes left, so let's just have some fun with this while we still have time. And that was a good suggestion. I wouldn't have thought of that. I always tell people when I try to play a legitimate classical piece, I get self-conscious when I play on these type instruments here. I'll do a little bit of the Moonlight Sonata for you. When I grow up, I want to be Liberace, y'all. go?
Beautiful.
I decided to play it all the way through.
Had to.
Yeah, I know. But I think that would be so much less self-conscious from my point of view on a real regular piano, stuff like that. But anyway, no offense to you.
Yeah, awfully good on this one. I can't imagine.
Yeah.
Grand
Well, when I did my CD, I was on a 9-foot concert grand piano. I got permission from the school that they had it there. They had a Baldwin 9-foot grand piano, and we locked ourselves in that room for 11 hours.
Wow.
And recorded that CD. And originally there were 25 songs that were recorded, and I had intended on doing 2 CDs, and unfortunately 12 of them got lost. Techno thing.
Are you kidding? Oh.
They got lost after all that trouble recording it.
Oh.
And I wound up with the 11 songs that are on my CD.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, my piano CD, well, it went on to get out there anyway, but it would have been nice to have all the 25 songs on there that I had originally planned instead of the 11.
Wow. Wow.
It took 11 hours. Because, every time I played the song, then they'd have to reset and adjust things.
Right.
And if I made a mistake, they'd have to start over. And on that, I was all really practiced up at that time, so I didn't make very many mistakes when
Yeah.
I did it. But it was fun.
Goodness.
And the name of the CD is called Lean On Me, Jeannie Marie. And I just feel very blessed to have that CD. It's still out there. And it's also available on bandcamp.com. You can download it and get a copy. It's just all 11 songs of classical stuff. And Moonlight Sonata was one of the songs on there. So.
Yeah. It's wonderful. I love it.
Well, I'm going to see if this piano will allow me. If it will, let's have fun with Johnny Cash.
Sounds
Yeah,
good.
leave him out. I'm just really having a difficult time with this particular instrument, but I'm sure it's fun for what it was intended. I don't think these type instruments were intended for what you call traditional classical music. I think they're more used for rock and roll and sustained tones and things like that. So, when in Rome.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, let's see. We got to get the chairman of the board. We're almost running out of time. We've got about 5 more minutes left. I will do a Sinatra tune, and then I will end this with a hymn, since I know you like hymns. So let's do some Sinatra here. And let me slip a little Gene Autry in before I do that hymn.
Okay.
I'm not going to tell you the name of the song, but let's see if you can figure it out.
Okay. Oh boy.
Do you recognize that song?
I do, but I can't think of the name.
It's called Tumbling Tumbleweeds.
Oh! Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I actually think my grandmother had one of those player pianos, and I think that was one of the ones.
I
should have known that.
Yeah. But Gene Autry goes way back.
Yes.
What, 1931, 32, something like that? I don't even think my parents were alive then.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, but I think that's probably one of his most famous songs. You know that song he sings that they play at Christmas, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer? My understanding of the history of that, that was written, and they wanted Bing Crosby to sing that song, and he turned it down.
Really?
Yeah, so then they gave it to Gene Autry, and it was history.
Wow.
It's just funny how life works.
Mhm.
And no offense to Bing Crosby, he was a fantastic singer, but I sometimes wonder if
Yeah.
you ever thought, oh my goodness,
Yeah.
that's going to be me on there. So I've learned in life, somebody give you an opportunity, you better take it. And the MCAT studio, I want to acknowledge them real quick because they've been good to me to get my new Lawrence Welk show started later on this year, and of course this simple Asaph Cafe. So I want to acknowledge Joe Bayard and all the other people involved at the MCAT studio for giving me this opportunity to do both of these shows, and of course the Wake Up Missoula, Noel's show, and it's just fun. I'm just really humbled to be a part of this studio, this network here, whatever we call it, and have fun with it and see where it leads. And on that note, I will do a hymn and
Okay.
say goodnight. Let's see, what would be a good hymn to end it on? How about Jesus is all the world to me?
Great one.
Yeah, it's a old hymn. That's a cool song, that
That's a
hymn.
very good song.
Yeah, when I was a little boy, I used to go to a Southern Baptist church. I was only like 12. And they used to sing those old-fashioned hymns. And the lady that's my autobiography is dedicated to, my second mom, Lois Stevens. She was one of my original Sunday school teachers. And
Oh.
yeah. And she watched me grow up. And she's just been a delight in my life all these years.
Yeah.
And,
I'm Baptist as well, so definitely all the hymns are something
Yeah.
I've grown up with.
yeah, so I consider her my second mom. We've had this relationship for years. She's
Nice.
just a a real sweetheart to me. And I honor her just like I would my regular mom, or my birth mom, I should say.
Yeah.
She's mom to me.
Yeah.
And she'll see this broadcast eventually, so she'll probably crying and so on.
Oh.
And
That's sweet.
but anyway, that's a neat hymn, and one day maybe I'll do a completely gospel album with just all the old hymns. Because usually, speaking about hymns for a second, they don't do the old hymns much. They do all that praise music, and I like it. Like for example, you might know this one here. Hold on, let me do it again. Those are just praise stuff. And Brandon Heath is another interesting praise singer to me. Let's see, you might know this one. That is a song called Give Me Your Eyes by Brandon Heath. That's my little piano version.
Very good.
So, and on that note, I'm going to say good night to all the ladies and gentlemen that were watching this show. My name is Asaph Adonai. This is my guest and my friend Stacy from First Security Bank. I got it right this time. She is my very first guest on my very first show called Asaph Cafe. So until next time, on behalf of myself and on behalf of Stacy, Maranatha.